right, welcome back to the Last Week This Week podcast. I'm Ian Scott.
I'm Zack Huber.
And this is the podcast where we talk about nerd culture and topics from the past week and the upcoming week. We just sat down and watched the Mandalorian season opener together. But among that and other things, we have much to talk about today.
Yeah, we've got lots more to talk about, including Last of Us, new episode at the end.
Yeah, we'll be reviewing that. Spoiler reviews for both episodes here.
Mm-hmm.
But we wanted to start off with the Mandalorian today.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just give my general impression out of the way.
Yeah, let's get right into it. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not really anything.
It's not a great episode.
It's not a strong Mandalorian episode. It's just a little, in my opinion, it's meandering. And I don't feel a sense of direction. Like I get that I get that it's setting up that he wants to go back to Mandalore, and he has all these things that he wants to like get information or now I guess get IG-11 back.
Yeah.
But all of it was
very slow.
It was it was slow, but it was also like it didn't none of it felt satisfying at the end. You know, like I would have imagined if we were going to do like an IG-11 episode where we get him back, that would be the main focus, and it wouldn't be like, oh, well, I'll find the chip at some point.
There was just so many other things going on. I mean, even the like the opening scene for me feels, I don't know, it felt a little all over the place for me. Like, I think it was cool to maybe not know like when this was set. You know, like we were thinking, oh, this was Kid Din Djarin.
Right. I will say that was a good misdirect.
Sure, because it definitely feels implied.
At least maybe other people didn't think that, but it threw us off.
It threw us off, yeah. And I don't know. I mean, but that scene in general was just to lead up to like information we knew. You know,
right? Which is something that we had brought up on an earlier podcast, that because you had those two basically Mandalorian episodes in Book of Boba Fett, and it doesn't even really matter that, but you know, the whole like Grogu and him reuniting in a different show. Well, now on the show that they started off in, we have to retread this material that we already knew about.
Right.
So I guess if you take it from the point of, if you've never seen Book of Boba Fett, I guess it's not necessary,
right? But they did show like the recap in the beginning of like scenes from Boba Fett.
That's true.
So
that's true.
I don't know. It's just a little weird. And
I, as much as I like that intro sequence with the big space alligator, I will say it was kind of like, right. Like the thing just kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah. Like, why would they be doing a ritual there if that was a threat? There wasn't none of the Mandalorians I cared. Like,
just the armor, just
right. But like, you got to care about what happens to them. Like in an action sequence, like I need to like attach myself.
I'm kind of curious how she found so many like new recruits, or I guess because you know, during Book of Boba Fett, she had like the one guy with her.
Yeah, unless she said that they're scattered. Or,
maybe she's just regrouped them at this point. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, after that opening scene, we basically get, you know, permission from the armorer that, you know, he can go on this quest again. And then we're on Navarre for a long time.
Navarro?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And you know, Navarro was very cool to see again, like transformed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of, I don't know, little like slice of life things, which I don't mind. But then you had like slice of life, like confrontation almost, where, you know, there was just, you had some pirates come into town and And they weren't the greatest of villains. They were a little cheesy for me.
They were cheesy. They were a little, and I like that Star Wars-ness, but this just felt like, I don't know, it felt a little off, and I
agree. They were trying to. It was almost like they were trying to do a Western, like really.
Well, I mean, and I don't feel like this is we've had this so many times throughout the Mandalorian.
I mean, and I do believe that this show is a Western, but it didn't need it here in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate where it's coming from in theory, but I don't know if it was executed that well.
Yeah.
It was a little, I don't know, I didn't feel the tension.
I agree. Yeah, because you're like, okay, neither of these guys are going to die from this pirate gang, Like, it wasn't going to happen.
It was, what? I think it's a bar still.
Yeah, like.
You can't drink at my school.
Yeah, it was very, like, almost generic Western.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, no, yeah, the generic good guy and the generic bad guy.
Yeah. I would have liked to have not seen the recap, because I think the fact that it started off with showing IG-11, we were like, oh, so we're gonna get IG-11 back.
That was very interesting. I think we were both surprised that they started off back in season 1 for the recap. But yeah, I hope that the IG-11 story goes somewhere well, because I don't love that thread that we're kind of following, because I don't think we necessarily need IG-11 again, but
I think I will say that I like IG-11, and I like hearing Taika Waititi's voice on a droid, but the way that he went out was cool.
Yeah.
And I like the character, and I agree, like, we don't need him back.
I was happy enough just getting the statue of him in, like, the town square. I thought that was a cool tribute, and that's all we needed. You know?
Again, like, it was just a bunch of, like, Grief Karga just being like, you could take this plot of land, and you can be what if you're my sheriff, and then it's like the whole time Mandalorian just like, I have
a business here,
I have this thing I wanna do, and it's this droid, and he's like, you can't fix this droid, and it's like,
it's a statue now.
I'm gonna try, and then he tries, and then tries to kill him.
Yeah, that
which was, like, I predicted. I was like, he's gonna try to kill him.
That was an interesting scene. I think, like, to me, I started rewatching, like, the first season again.
Right.
And, like, I guess I looked at it as a plot hole for the longest time, that IG-11 wanted to kill Grogu. And because the bounty that Din Djarin got was bring the bounty in alive, but if necessary, dead.
Right.
And so that, to me, like, I believe IG-11 got the bounty from somebody else. And so I'm curious to ever find out who that was, if that is a thread that's in the universe for Star Wars.
Okay.
But
yeah.
So I was kind of glad to see IG-11 have that same kind of programming to where he wanted to kill Grogu again. But that scene ended pretty cheesily as well.
Yeah, there's
had a very
statue
80s,
of was it a statue of Karga?
Yeah, of Karga, and it fell on IG-11 to kill him. And Din Djarin is like, way to use your head.
If it was like an Arnold Schwarzenegger bit, I would have liked it, maybe.
Yeah,
but
it did not fit this episode either.
Yeah. And then we get Babu Freaks species that are like,
is it freak or frick?
I don't know. Okay. I don't really care.
I mean, they were a funny part of it.
Yeah, they were genuinely funny.
They were, yeah.
But again, it was like, well, you got to get this chip,
right,
or this interface or whatever,
another MacGuffin,
and I'm sure we'll find it.
I would just rather be following him go to Mandalore right now. I don't need him to go find this chip and save IG-11. Like, it's just whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. And then we have this space battle with the pirates, which was
neat. I kind of like the horror aspect for the pirates in a way, where he was just stealthily killing them all until the end.
Yeah, and I like Swamp Thing as a space captain pirate.
But to me, like, that design.
But that was a wild design.
Yeah, it feels just as out of place as like the Pirates design is, you know? Like it just doesn't necessarily feel like a species that should exist. But I don't know. Maybe I said this to somebody else recently, and I was like, Star Wars, I feel like if you're nitpicky about like the vibe of certain things, then I guess what I'm trying to say is I think anything in Star Wars could exist because there's so many planets. So maybe I'm being too nitpicky, but it just felt a little weird is what I'm feeling.
No, yeah. I mean, I think that there's a design to Star Wars creatures or aliens or whoever that there's definitely a look. And these were I agree. Some of them worked, some of them not so much maybe. But I think for me, what would work better is something that I do wish that new Star Wars did less of, which is I don't like them talking in English, you know? Like a lot of alien species would have like alien and subtitles. And I would prefer that for maybe these pirates or something.
They were speaking a little too cleanly, like in common, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, like in Andor, there's these, you'll see, but later on in the episodes, there's these aliens that they look Star Wars, but they're a little, maybe a little bit different, like in this episode, but they speak English, but they speak
like a rougher,
like a more
street
broken,
slang almost.
Like and so it works better.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys were like,
just speaking clear.
I want to drink at your bar. It's like, oh, all right.
Serve me a drink.
So yeah, the space battle was fine, and then it was good. I mean, the special effects were all good, but
I think maybe a stronger point in the episode was after that when he got to Bo-Katan's castle.
Sure.
Not that was like a super necessary conversation to have, because they're both kind of like at the same spot they were at the end of season 2.
I would say that Bo-Katan's at a different spot.
I mean, but she was already realizing that like she didn't have the Darksaber and she couldn't leave.
But now we know that she
lost her forces.
Yeah,
right.
Which is, I don't know. I get it, but I would have liked to have seen her use the Star Destroyer that she got, or whatever, that Imperial ship that she got, and
I forgot about that.
I would have liked to have had it. It's just kind of a bummer. It's like, oh, we know that she's already done this thing, and now she's in a different place, and she's feeling a little villainous, but only to Din.
But she's not necessarily, because she hasn't even tried to take the Darksaber from him. You know, she's just upset. To me, she's
upset, but I don't know. She's like, goodbye, Din Djarin.
Yeah,
it's like,
I can see where you're coming from.
But and I think it's a cool shot.
Yeah.
But again, and this is a very small nitpick, but like when we see Darth Vader at his castle on Mustafar and Obi-Wan, he's just sitting there, you know? Like,
so is Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan's just like got this huge, long
throne room. Yeah.
You know, as Guardian, you were saying, like,
reminded me of Thor. Yeah.
You know, and she's just like sitting there. And it's fine, but it's like, I don't know if I believe you that you've just been sitting here.
No one's got hobbies in Star Wars. It's either you're on an epic quest or you're sitting in your throne.
One more thing. So I don't know how much I should say, but for people who haven't seen Rebels, there was potentially a nod to the end of Rebels that Grogu saw when they were traveling at warp speed.
Right.
And if it is that, then I think I know how Ahsoka's series is going to go.
Oh, okay.
And if it ties into any part of this Mandalorian season, that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Rebels, so obviously I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was a really nice moment for Grogu. I wouldn't mind if it was just left at that, but like I would be cool if it ties in. I'm okay with anything tying into another show at this point for Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just build your universe a little bit.
Yeah. I'm still excited to see the next couple episodes, but I
mean, I don't doubt that they're going to be stronger than the season opener.
Yeah, but the guy who wrote and directed this episode also did
the last 2 episodes of this season.
Is it the last 2? Yeah. So
it's
not making me feel.
It's a little worrisome.
It's not making me feel particularly great, but
yeah. Well, so with Mandalorian, we also got news that season 4 is completely written.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau, he had a whole interview where he was talking about the future of this kind of universe that they're making. And so it definitely seems like Mandalorian doesn't have an end in sight, is what he's kind of saying. He doesn't have a definitive ending for it. And I had heard a while ago that maybe this was the last season for The Mandalorian, like season 3.
Oh.
But I mean, clearly that's not true.
No.
Yeah, and along with that, he's or is it Dave Filoni who is the showrunner for Ahsoka series, and is he Skeleton Crew as well?
I was trying to find that information out. I didn't see who was the showrunner. I know that him and Jon Favreau are executive producers, but
it's got to be one of them, right?
He might be, but
I mean, I would like the 2 of them to be a showrunner for any series that is.
Yeah. I think with having all of season 4 already written, it's good that they're having foresight and that they're like, thinking ahead and trying to, even though like they have season 4 already mapped out, they're still not having necessarily an end in sight, but the fact that they have all these minds working together for an interconnected universe is good, because we had the whole sequel trilogy that they didn't know where they were going any of the time.
Right.
And I think it's good to know that we're going to get at least pretty well thought out Star Wars, and at least they have some sort of idea of where they want to go. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think necessarily it's going to be like some MCU plan where all 4 of the shows link up at one point or whatever, but I do think they will utilize the main characters in other shows in their in every show that they put out for this little universe.
And I think it was said that, or there was an interview with Jon Favreau recently where it was that there was an idea maybe being floated of a movie, like a team up Mandalorian universe movie, but he said, I don't think that's happening. I think we're staying on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I want that. I don't think I want a movie necessarily, because I don't know. I feel like I just feel like Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Ahsoka trilogy, like a team up is just not I don't know. It's not really what I want, I guess.
I feel similarly. I'm not like at the moment, I'm not crazy about all of these characters needing to be so interconnected, but it's nice that the continuity is there. And at least they're all communicating with each other.
Yeah.
Which is good to know. So, and still carrying on through with some Mandalorian Star Wars news. There was just recently, I think it was in Deadline, that what's his name? Executive producer Rick Famuyiwa. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say his last name.
You said it.
He was the director of this episode and the last 2 of this season of Mandalorian, and he was talking about Cara Dune, and they even mentioned her, what happened with her in this episode.
Right, so she's in another post at this point, pretty much,
with like the New Republic, and
so she's basically got a promotion.
Yeah, and he was saying that she's like a big part of the world, and who knows,
Yeah, so we could see her again.
So
yeah,
and I think even Filoni said, where was it? It's a big galaxy. We have many characters in it. Many characters are fighting for their screen time. We'll just have to see as the season unfolds what the adventures are, which it makes me think maybe we're gonna see her even this season. But I wouldn't mind skipping a season, maybe recasting her, and it won't feel as weird.
Yeah, because
I don't think
in that article
Gina Carano is coming back.
Right. I think in the article they said that it's not like Cara Dune is gone. It's just that Gina Carano's version of that character is not around.
Right.
So yeah, and
I think she's a cool. I will say that
I think she's a cool character too.
It'll be hard for me, whoever takes up her place, because Gina Carano really was. I mean. But she really was that character. Like she was. The whole situation is really unfortunate, but
yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. But it's nice to know that she was acknowledged in this episode.
Yeah,
so
in a nice way.
In a nice way. So
yeah. Also, we have a rumor about a potential series for Star Wars. Yeah, so on CBR, they reported that we could be getting a series of shorts of the original trilogy cast of Han, Luke, and Leia in their deepfake forms. I have to say I don't love this rumor.
I will say it's a rumor.
Right.
And even CBR says take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. So, I love seeing like Luke and Boba Fett. Like I genuinely love those episodes.
Yeah.
I don't want a deep fake cast as like the main characters.
And also like let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Right.
The reason that Luke even somewhat works in the episodes that he's in is because he's doing very limited anything.
Right.
Yeah. Like he's
Yeah.
a very stoic figure at this point. He doesn't need to do a lot of acting.
Yeah, I mean, and Leia's deepfake just barely worked at the end of Rogue One. Like that was a little rough back then. So
yeah, and I mean the Harrison Ford one.
I'm sure that's going to be good. Yeah,
that looks good.
And
but that's like a movie budget.
I mean, but all these shows are getting 100 million plus.
But they're spread out through episodes. It's not the same as
you're not wrong.
As like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah,
like that's $100 million for 2 hours. This is $100 million for 8 episodes.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So
yeah, I mean, look, do I want it to happen? No.
No, I don't want it to happen. We don't need.
Yeah.
As much as like it's like that time's gone.
Right. Yeah. Let's just focus on this. I mean, if anything, focus on either the episodes, the time between episodes 3 and 4, where Andor takes place, and Rogue One, or set stuff. The 5 years after episode 6, where the Mandalorian starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need to go back to the original
we all
trilogy. Love them.
Yeah.
But. You could possibly make us not love them.
Yeah, you could.
If you just like, I really don't want to not ever like Luke.
Yeah, sure.
I don't ever want to not like Leia. I want to have good memories of.
Although I think that's where people maybe are like angry with like Obi-Wan, the show, because I know some people didn't love like Leia's portrayal. But
I mean,
I did, but
I did.
Yeah.
You don't like children? I guess they just don't like children.
I guess so.
But anyways, we're going to move on to some, I guess, Sony news. Yeah. So there's a rumor / report. I guess I'll say more of a report because according to Jeff Snyder, who's a reporter, he's covered some things that have come true, some things that are not. Like most recently, he was reporting that Harrison Ford would be the president of the United States and New World Order.
And that was true. Yeah.
And that was true. And so there's a rumor, or that he's reporting that in the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, that Tom Holland will make a live action appearance.
Yeah.
And that the Miles Morales of that animated movie will interact with a live action Tom Holland, and that is the reason that the movie has been delayed, or one of the reasons that the movie's been delayed. And let's see, this is all coming from Screen Rant. The rumblings made their way to Spider-Verse franchise producer Christopher Miller, who answered, "Let's say anything is possible in the multiverse," when asked about Holland's rumored involvement. And I will say this.
Yeah.
I think it's very possible. Very, very possible, especially when the name of the next movie, which originally was a two-parter, is called Beyond the Spider-Verse. I will say, and especially because we have the PS4 version of Spider-Man making his way into this movie, into this new movie.
It's gonna bum me out though, because I love the original model they had for that character, Peter Parker, and
is it gonna be
the PS5 version for sure? Yeah, that
was a big L.
It really is. But hopefully they just keep his mask on and don't show new younger Peter Parker.
Yeah, I just didn't love that. No. But I will say that I don't think that it was that this particular live action news is a big reason for the delay, because at CinemaCon last year they were showing like the first 15 minutes and a good amount of that was still sketch animation.
That's fair.
I mean, and if this is just, who knows, it could have been that Tom Holland was on set for a day. He could have been on set for like 3 days, depending on what it is. But I just don't see that a movie delaying.
But think of this, like.
But I do think that it might happen. Right, I think it might happen.
If he's only on set for like, let's say 3 days, you still have, like, Tom Holland is a busy guy. You know, like you have to schedule in where he's gonna film. And sure, it might not be the whole reason it got delayed like 9 months. But I'm sure it's not an easy process to like film scenes with Tom Holland and then, like fix or edit them in post-production and then attach them to the movie, because you still have to do some animation in those scenes as well.
Well, do you think
they're going to get an actor for the animated like Miles Morales?
I think it could be. Here's the thing.
Does he change styles in each universe he goes into?
Well, in this new movie, there's going to be several different animation styles.
Right, but I guess I haven't seen the first movie. For the listeners. In the first one, and when he goes into like a different universe, does he go into different universes? No. Okay. So we don't know. Okay.
He has people come into his.
Okay, cool.
But now we're going across.
Okay, so we don't really know how his style is going to change.
Well, we see the different animation styles for characters already.
Right, but I guess I'm thinking of Miles. Like, is he going to have consistent style?
No, his style is going to change.
Okay, cool.
In every universe that he goes into in this new movie.
They're going to get an actor probably if they go to live action verse.
Well, it would have to be the voice actor.
Is he young enough?
I think so.
Okay, nice.
So I think it might be that they use like him as.
That would be cool.
Because how are you going to? You're going to have to sync up the voice. You can't change the voice.
Although,
I would imagine.
I do think it's maybe a little too like early on for Tom Holland Spider-Man to be meeting a Miles Morales.
Is it? I mean, he's 3 movies in.
I feel you, but he's like just graduating high school.
Okay, But here's the thing. You haven't seen the movie. He doesn't need to be that Peter Parker.
Sure.
Because there's already that Peter Parker in the first movie.
That's okay. Okay, cool. Then that's fine. Because but I guess to me, like a Peter Parker with Miles Morales should be like for his late 20s, early 30s.
But he doesn't need Tom Holland to be that.
Sure.
And also by the time that, if this does happen and we do get a live action Miles, I mean, he's getting out of high school. We'll see how he goes in the MCU, so it could happen.
No, I mean, I definitely think this is like super possible. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Holland's in this movie at all.
I wouldn't be either.
Yeah.
And then also a bit of Sony news is that Venom 3 is in pre-production because Tom Hardy, who plays Eddie Brock Venom in the Venom movies, put up on an Instagram post that he pointed out that Venom 3 is in pre-production. Cool, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't hate the Venom movies like some people do. I don't love them either. I
almost hate them. So, yeah.
I don't. They're just mid movies. They're just like,
I would go to the length that they're bad, but
I understand why people say that they're bad. And those opinions are obviously very valid. And they still don't entirely work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I don't love any of them, like both of them. I don't love them.
Yeah.
But I admire the campiness and I don't know, it's fine for what it is. So
I guess like what I'm looking for in like this sequel is for any kind of impact from what like Tom Hardy went through at the end of Venom 2 to like through No Way Home. You know?
So that's what I was gonna like try to figure out is a Spider-Man gonna be in this movie? Because for anybody who hasn't seen No Way Home, I don't know who hasn't,
right,
and would be listening to this podcast, but spoilers, I guess. But yeah, he knows about the MCU.
Uh-huh.
He knows somewhat who Spider-Man is. He's obviously very interested in who that person is. Or is this just going to be him teaming up with a Sinister Six villain? Is he going to be facing off against that other symbiote that was at the end of Carnage now, who was the police officer?
I forgot about him.
I mean, that'll probably be what happens, but
I don't know. I
do agree that I would want some impact.
I want some thread from the MCU, right? Like I think Spider-Man should be in this third movie. Like it would be a nice cap off to like this trilogy or whatever they're trying to do for Venom.
In 3 movies, and no Spider-Man.
Like you have to have Spider-Man in this movie.
I hope, but like who would be the Spider-Man?
You know, I've said this before, but I am okay with a new cast, like new casting of him. I don't think it needs to be in a Spider-Man we've seen before because it's a new universe.
Yeah, I don't know.
But and why I say that is because I think this universe can work with a new casted Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and he doesn't even have to have his own movie. Like you can
yeah.
So yes. What, you know, if any of the 3 existing were to do it, I would want Andrew Garfield. But
sure,
I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
I don't have too many thoughts about it. Like, oh, I guess it's happening.
It's happening.
But all right, so we'll move on to stuff at Warner Brothers. And so we got news that The Flash is debuting at CinemaCon. So CinemaCon is kind of this convention where a lot of theater owners and gather and they have presentations from all the studios about what's coming to their theaters and what's going on in the movie business. And a lot of times they'll have movies that they'll debut there, or they'll show 30 minutes of something. And
right.
So for context, other movies that have debuted at CinemaCon in full were Top Gun Maverick, The Black Phone, and Ghostbusters Afterlife, which all did very well and were good movies.
Yeah.
So this is considering that this will be about 2 months before The Flash comes out. It's
a good sign.
It's a very good sign because these are not fans. These are not people that are just gonna eat it up. It has to be good.
It's people you need to impress.
Exactly. Right. So I think with everything that we've heard about The Flash from everybody saying it's a great movie, even James Gunn saying it's arguably one of the best superhero movies of all time. I think this is gonna be a good movie.
It's just like piling on top of evidence that like this is most likely gonna be good.
And I'm really jealous of everybody that gets to go to CinemaCon.
Yeah, that's got to be amazing. To see this movie 2 months early, or 4 months early.
God, imagine trying to keep your mouth shut about talking about that movie.
Yeah.
For 2 months.
Yeah, I'm sure they all have to sign NDAs, right? Or maybe not.
Probably some sort of like you can talk about general impressions or something, but
yeah, but nothing specific. No.
So
yeah, exciting that this is getting a full release at CinemaCon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know on the other end, we're getting test screenings for Aquaman 2.
Right.
And yeah, from what we're hearing about that is that it's one of the most poorly received test screenings for a DC movie.
This is also coming from Jeff Schneider, who we talked about earlier with who was it? We just talked about it. Jeff Schneider with
was it the deepfake Star Wars?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm sorry, not deepfake stars. It was the Tom Holland news. That was literally. Okay. Anyways, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think this. Yeah, sure. It's a test screening, so things can be changed, and it's not always a reliable indicator.
Because like infamously, like what was it? Batman v Superman got like a standing ovation.
Wow. Okay.
Was being reported.
Yeah,
and it's like,
Well, yeah. I do think it's possible that Aquaman 2 is a bad movie. Because what I've heard now, like based off of these reports, is that because this is not being received well, it's almost certain that like Aquaman is done after this, and that he will be Lobo.
Sure, but I saw that too. I will also say though that with all of this, it was being said that somebody said it's not a surprise that this movie's not good considering the first wasn't.
Yeah, and I was like, I like the first movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if you didn't like the first,
then you're probably not going to like the second.
And you don't like the second one, but if I like the first one, I don't know if I trust your what you're saying, because I really like that movie.
Yeah.
So again, that's why like when we were talking, like when you were texting me about it, I was like, we can talk about it. It's we could talk about it. But I'm like, but I don't. To me,
we had like been discussing like the Flash screenings, and I know we had discussed even Aquaman, like the not Aquaman, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania as well.
Right.
So I just I felt it was
agree.
Was cool to bring up.
So it's a possibility that this movie's bad, but I'm gonna just be like kind of impartial about all this and be like, well, I'll wait till.
And for me, if any of these, well, I'll say if any of these movies that come out this year for DC besides The Flash are bad, I'm not going to be too upset, because like they most likely just won't exist in the future. And yeah.
I mean, it'll
just be a little bit of a waste of time for me, I guess.
I'll be upset about Shazam.
Yeah. You would be upset about Shazam?
I like Shazam, but
I know you do, but yeah, I guess Shazam has, like, if this is a good movie, it has like a very real possibility of sticking around.
The problem with Shazam and Billy Batson though in live action is you have a set amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
There is in the comics, like he does become an adult anyways, and then he's just the superpowered version. But the fun thing about Shazam is when he's a kid.
Yeah.
So you have a limited amount of time. I guess I wouldn't mind in the new DCU
could recast him and
and really, I don't know what the word is, but just like really go for it and get as much Shazam with that kid as possible, because that kid's gonna grow up, and it's
the prime era, right?
Like he's a lot older now in the new Shazam, and
I mean, one of the kids is so old that they're just the oldest girl is like she's her Shazam version now.
Yeah, which is
a little weird.
But
yeah, I don't know if you heard about the prequel comic that came out
for Shazam,
is coming out for Shazam, like 2.
No,
I mean it's not huge, but basically it's interesting. It basically Billy Batson is like trying his hardest to shape the group and like change everyone.
Okay, and
they're not really like feeling all of that from Billy, because I guess he has his own problems that he hasn't dealt with. And so I can't remember the oldest like girl's name. But she I guess comes up to him and is like explains all of that, and I guess at the end of the comic he goes to therapy, and that's supposed to lead into Shazam 2.
So he's in therapy.
Or he's just ending therapy by Shazam 2, or I don't know. Yeah, but I guess this comic does start it for him. So a little bit of a weird slice of life comic to prequel it up, but.
I as much as this new Shazam, I know we're off topic, but as much as this new Shazam is maybe not looking super dope, I still have hopes that it's okay.
It could be, because I do believe that it's going to be better than the first one.
I hope. But I really liked the first one.
Yeah, so. You did. I mean, also Warner Brothers DC News here.
Yeah.
At the State of Play, they showed off a really big chunk of the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League trailer.
Which is a game, by the way.
Yeah, it's a game. So we don't usually talk about games on here, but it's superhero related, so it felt right.
Right.
Yeah, I had been looking forward to this game because it had the creators of like Rocksteady attached behind it, so they had created the first 3 Arkham Knight games.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was a bit disappointed in this teaser gameplay trailer.
Okay, this is very interesting to me. I don't know his opinion because we didn't talk about it at all. Super excited.
Yeah, I saw your notes on it, and this is the reason I wanted to talk about it.
Okay, all right. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so what I think was strong about this trailer was like the cinematic moments of it. Like I think, because I don't doubt that the story behind this game can be good.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a strong concept. And the scene I'm most talking about that was really well done was when Wonder Woman was lassoing Brainiac version of the Flash.
Yeah.
And then he had this shift where he was like, "You have to kill all of us, Diana." And it's a super like impactful moment. It's just everything else around it I don't love. Like, already going into this trailer, I was skeptical of these, like the Suicide Squad versus the Justice League threat, because it was only 4 members of the Suicide Squad, and it was mainly members who didn't have powers. It was just like, how are they possibly going to do this? And then I saw the trailer, and it was revealed that all 4 of them use guns, and they're all mainly using guns, and you have these like power up abilities sometimes that'll give you like an actual move they have, but it doesn't look like it just looked to me, the vibe I get from it is that you're in a generic shooter, and you're just shooting the things that the game points to you. Like, there was just these purple orbs on a tank that you had to shoot, and I was like, I was so upset at how generic this whole thing looked. There was nothing that screamed, "This is a superhero game" to me. Like, nothing about it.
See, I don't know. Everything that you're saying like is not what I thought. Because first of all, Captain Boomerang has boomerangs and guns.
I feel you.
Deadshot's thing is guns.
I feel you.
And King Shark does have close combat and guns. And the same thing with Harley. She does have like agile fighting plus guns.
90% of that gameplay was them shooting.
I agree, but I don't know. That doesn't bother me. Like, what were you expecting? More melee fighting?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't doubt that that's in here. I
do though, because like, to me, you're not getting anything close to the melee you were with like the Arkham games.
Yeah, but like
you're getting power ups that you can use as a melee version of yourself. Like, to me, there's no like close combat.
Okay, I mean, sure, but I guess if this isn't an Arkham game though, I mean, it's in the Arkham universe, but it's not. It is its own thing. It's a new thing,
and I respect that. And it doesn't need to be Arkham, but I don't want it to be a generic shooter, because even when you go into the menus, like there was so much gun customization that I just don't care about. I don't give a shit about having guns and gun customization in a superhero game. Like it's not what I want.
It's a superhero game, but they are the Suicide Squad. Like when we go to see like the Suicide Squad, like when we see James Gunn's or the original, they mostly are just using guns half the time.
But it's the people who are using guns are gun-centered characters. Like, I don't care that Deadshot's using his sniper all the time because that's Deadshot. But like Captain Boomerang and King Shark, I don't see the need for them to be using guns.
But Boomerang is using his boomerangs. Like you can use them, and the way that he uses them is pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean,
like I will say that. Even though Gotham Knights is not related and isn't the same company, this is a similar idea in concept of the 4 different characters that you get to play.
Right.
And I will say that this game, their way that they navigate around the world and their different abilities
I like that
is
better.
way more it just
makes more sense.
It makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's not ridiculous like
Nightwing's glider or Red Hood's jumping on portals or whatever you want to call it.
Or
energy.
Or Tim Drake being transferred by the Justice League's, satellite.
Right.
It's just like this is nonsense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, I agree that the cinematics were great. I love that we're getting like Gizmo, who's gonna like do these rides, and we're Penguin's like an arms dealer, and I think that the customization, I don't know. I'm into the fact that I can have a sniper rifle, and on that sniper rifle is a pistol, and I'm like, this is the most ridiculous looking gun, and I kind of want it, and I can make King Shark look like Superman, like, and I don't know. I think the voice acting is really well done. Like you have Flash, who's like a dick voice. And then when he's getting lassoed by Wonder Woman, you're like, oh, that's Flash.
That's Barry, right?
But it's like amazing how much he sounds like such a dick.
Yeah, he really does.
And I love the vibe and the look of Metropolis. Like it has the same detail, if not more, of what Gotham City had in the Arkham games. And I'm just very excited. You get to see it day and night, which is very cool.
Yeah, I guess for me, I just the visuals in combat and the combat itself just didn't excite me at all. Like there's just nothing I was looking forward to actual gameplay wise.
I can definitely see how you would feel about that, and I'm hoping that it doesn't get repetitive to me either.
I hope it's not a linear game in that sense, because the mission we got felt very linear in a way where we were like transported to the start of this mission. There was a cinematic, and then we were just like bouncing all over this map to destroy like purple orb things. And I don't know. I didn't love that. I hope we do get like to experience Metropolis in like a free roam setting almost. Like we got to experience Gotham.
I think we will.
But yeah, I don't know. I need more more gameplay to convince me that there's more to it than this generic shooter.
I think that like when we get to when we saw that Batman teaser a while back, they're in a more they're in a closed off environment. I don't doubt that there'll be some shooting ability, but I wouldn't doubt that there's going to be more of a melee system in place for when you go into buildings and it's closed, tight environments. I think that there'll be but I don't know. It might be true that like this is because maybe you would want to show that at State of Play, like all these different environments.
You would think, right? I don't know,
but we'll see. I mean, it's because like I liked. I guess it is a lot of like just shooting. It's not like when I would play like Army of Two when I was a kid, where that was also a shooter, but
yeah, it was.
But it was not that this doesn't involve skill, but this is a bit easier with the shooting mechanics.
I would assume
like a lot easier, but
it looked it.
I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad that you're not, but I understand. You're valid. Those are valid critiques. But for me, like I was excited to try it all, and it looks fun to roam around.
I was definitely surprised of how much you've liked what you saw. I guess for me, I just need even like I said before the trailer came out. I think the centering around these 4 characters is I think it's a weak start in general. Like I think you could have based it around maybe some varied different powers you could have. Think of Fire Guy from the first Suicide Squad movie. Diablo. Yeah, he was great. I mean, you had Polka Dot Man in the newest movie. He had a great power set.
But here's the thing. I don't think it's going to matter as much because their characterization, their personalities feel really good. Like they feel really fun, and I'm excited to hear
the ones in the game.
Yeah, okay. I'm excited to hear their dynamics between each other and their banter. And I think that there might be a similar sort of Guardians of the Galaxy sort of cohesion.
I hope so. Yeah,
because I think they're all fun characters. I agree. I get what you're saying, and I have no doubt that you could create personalities for them. But if you're gonna have the Suicide Squad, you have to have Harley.
Yeah,
nowadays,
sure.
And you gotta have a Deadshot or some sort of sniper, I would imagine.
Yeah,
and then the other two.
Guy,
but I think I don't know. I'm excited to have Captain Boomerang, and I'm excited to have King Shark. So for me, the characters work, and I think the fact that it is like a literal suicide mission because
these 4 shouldn't be able to pull it off.
No, they shouldn't be able to pull it off at all.
Right.
Which I think is what's exciting and fun for me.
Okay, I'll give you that. Sure. Like I said, I don't doubt that this is going to be a good story. I just hope the gameplay can back it up if we see more of it.
I hope.
Yeah.
And then another Warner Brothers piece of news for anybody who's a big Lord of the Rings fan. I don't know if you're going to be happy or upset by this. But on a Thursday earnings call, this is all coming from Variety, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav announced new studio leaders Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi, and they made a deal to make multiple films based off the J.R.R. Tolkien books, and they're all going to be developed through New Line Cinema, who did the original trilogy. Yeah. There's no filmmakers attached, but Peter Jackson and the people that he works with have been kept in the loop every step of the way.
Now that's what's super exciting for me.
Sure.
Right, because if you have the original vision behind the trilogy, then I think you're going to make a lot of fans happy with any sequel content that comes out. Because I think that's the direction that it would go in for at least in my eyes. If you're bringing back Peter Jackson. And if you have obviously David Zaslav is the CEO of this whole thing, I think keeping Zaslav in mind, I think he wants to see old characters return. So he wants to see the old success reestablish itself in this new era, and I think sequels are just the most realistic way for that to happen.
Yeah. So here's my thing.
Yeah, I
agree that we'll probably get a closer feel to Peter Jackson's vision of the Lord of the Rings, which is the most pop culturally accepted version. But with that said, as much as I like that Peter's in the loop, we still did get the Hobbit trilogy.
But that wasn't with Peter Jackson.
No, it was. He directed those.
Guillermo del Toro directed those.
No. Peter Jackson directed those.
Peter Jackson did not direct those.
Yes, he did.
Don't I gotta look this up for you, Zach?
He directed them.
Okay, so I'm thinking that of the when he was attached before Peter Jackson directed them. Interesting, because he was going to be the director before Peter Jackson.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
Interesting,
but
okay, yeah.
And regardless of who did the screenplay, those movies. There were very good moments, for sure. There were some really great, especially in the first Hobbit movie. There was a lot of stuff to like. But we still got those movies, and that was still under Peter Jackson's vision.
Yeah,
and
you're not wrong
so
at all.
My thought is, as much as, again, I know it's a business and you got to make money, and the Discovery's obtained all of these Warner Brothers IPs that they want to make money off of, like Harry Potter, DC, so on and so forth. I have no doubt that there's probably a good story that somebody can come up with, and I have no doubt that they're probably not going to push anything. They're not going to make anything unless they think it's of quality, I would imagine. Yeah. But I agree that they would probably want to bring back some old cast members. I don't know. Maybe you could do something in the future after the movies, like with Sam,
it would be smaller stories, like, for sure.
Yeah, or like Aragorn. But I hope they're good. But another issue with making things of Lord of the Rings caliber stories is because Lord of the Rings is essentially about the end of the world. And not that you have to go big like that, but things feel a little less epic when literally the world is at stake.
It would, I mean, I don't know. It would just be these side quests, basically, that characters are going on.
I think I'm not as familiar with all of Tolkien's works, but I know that it was said that there's a lot that's unexplored. But
like, to me, if you do any sequels and like the fate of the world is at stake again, I don't think that'll like appease fans either. Because,
no, and
right,
the thing
because
is,
we want to see these characters live out their lives and be happy, right?
Like, I don't know if they what they have the rights to. I don't know if they have the rights to like the Silmarillion, which is the book before Lord of the Rings. Like, I don't know if they would go back to like Morgoth, who was the big bad before Sauron. Because they allude to Morgoth. They talk about Morgoth in Rings of Power, but that's by Amazon. They have different rights. Yeah. And they've already switched up so much of the lore with that series.
From what I know about it is that like they have the rights to like all of Lord of the Rings stuff. It's just that Amazon can only make shows and Warner Brothers can only make movies.
Yeah, I have no doubt that they'd probably want to do something with a Frodo, and a Sam.
Yeah. I don't know if those actors
or like a Legolas
to do
or an Aragorn.
Legolas, I think, is a strong possibility. Yeah,
and we'll see. I'm not. This isn't news that I'm like extremely excited about. I'm just kind of. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll see how this goes.
Now, Orlando Bloom has aged like a decade now since The Hobbit, right?
Since The Hobbit, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how much older he looks. Maybe he's
like a Paul Rudd.
Maybe he's got no aging going on. But if he does look older, that would be cool to like set it, because he's an elf. It would be cool to set it like 100 or like 200 years after Lord of the Rings. And kind of do something there where it's like near the end of his life.
But here's the thing. The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, you have a voice of the author, and you know how these characters talk.
Sure, it would be new writers coming in and making new stories.
And that's the problem with making material based off of a previous, vision, is you're not that person. Yeah. And not that you couldn't. It's just, it is infinitely harder to give voice to and make it feel similarly to
Yeah, because like if I'm not wrong, I want to say Tolkien's son was writing like Lord of the Rings kind of stuff afterwards, like after his death. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I want to say like it wasn't as well received as what Tolkien had done.
Yeah, and I mean that's the same thing with like Brian Herbert, which is Frank Herbert's son, for like the Dune books.
Oh, okay.
He did. I guess there were some that were okay, and then there's some that are just like people are like,
right. But, if you want anybody like other than the original writing, it would be their son, because they know their dad the best. You would think,
right? But
maybe that's not the case sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, it's just it comes from one place. You're not that person.
Yeah.
You know?
It's unfortunate.
But we'll see. And one last thing. There was a trailer for a Disney Plus movie coming out called Peter Pan and Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is directed by David Lowery, who directed The Green Knight and Pete's Dragon. And
okay.
Yeah. Ian,
so you like The Green Knight.
I really like The Green Knight.
So that's a bonus for you.
So this is that piece of news was kind of the only thing that has me going, well,
okay,
we'll see how this goes.
We're on the same page then, because I'm very iffy about this trailer.
I'm very iffy too.
My I guess complaint is that this is titled Peter Pan and Wendy, and this is clearly a Wendy movie. Like, I don't see a story centered around Peter Pan at all.
I think the Peter Pan story is the classic Peter Pan. Like, we'll see, but this will be. We'll still have more of a Wendy.
Yeah, she's the main character for sure.
Sure.
I will say I also didn't love the design of Peter Pan in this. It didn't feel like Peter. Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Yeah, and maybe it was the acting too.
I think the actor. Not that I have a problem with a different race for Peter Pan, but I don't think the actor was anything special for Peter Pan either.
I didn't even notice that, like, if there was that, but yeah, I don't know. The actor didn't.
Oh, what, the race swap?
No, yeah, I didn't.
You didn't notice?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I don't know. They didn't do much for me. The one part of the trailer that I did not know that was Jude Law as Captain Hook.
I didn't either.
Yeah, that's Jude Law.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jim Gaffigan's gonna be Mr. Smee, so I am excited about that.
I don't even remember the Mr. Smee character.
Like, he's like the he's got like glasses. He's like a short kind of
like
heavy size. Like,
yeah. Who's playing him?
You like that dude?
Yeah.
You remember
who's playing him?
Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I'm kind of excited to see that.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I don't want to harp on CGI because I think CGI artists have a really particularly tough time nowadays, and they have a lot of work to do, and it's very hard to get those things to work. But yeah, the CGI was really
not great.
Wanting.
Yeah, I mean, and people were ripping apart again for Disney color grading because
the color grade. Oh my god, it's so dull.
Dark. Yeah, so monotonous. Yeah, it's just like, can we liven it up at all in post production, please?
Yeah, I mean, Hook was more bright and lively than this, and I like Hook. I don't know if other people don't like that movie.
I've never seen Hook. But
I love that movie.
I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, I will check it out. I'm not expecting anything fantastic.
I might check it out. I don't know. There's just so much live action Disney crap coming out that I
didn't even know that this movie was happening.
I didn't either. Because we just got Little Mermaid live action trailer. So why would they shoehorn this in there? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I guess I really didn't think about the live action craze as much, but now I'm like, wow, they really are just like repeating the same thing.
It's the same concept of a remake. They're like, okay, this script worked, let's do it again. But
this is clearly it would seem a different script, like a whole different movie.
Sure, because it's Peter Pan and Wendy. So
yeah,
sure, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
it
looks fine at best.
Yeah.
I know we both would much rather talk about The Last of Us episode 7 than Peter Pan and Wendy.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a spoiler review, like we said at the beginning of the podcast.
And we've done this for all the past episodes, and we will be doing it until the series ends.
Yeah,
the season ends.
We might start the episode off like when the finale comes out. We might start off the review that way.
Yeah.
But for this one, we're doing it at the end of our podcast.
Yeah.
it'll probably be a recurring theme in this podcast, but another amazing episode for Last of Us.
Yeah.
It really it just captured the DLC. I think it's called Left Behind. That came out so well. I thought the actress they got to play Riley was great.
Yeah, she was so good.
And I have to just commend Bella Ramsey for her acting, because every time she interacts with somebody new, it's an amazing interaction. Like, I love the chemistry she has with every single person in the show. Like, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's Riley, or that was the name of the character, right? Riley.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, because I think the actress's last name is Reed, and
that's Storm Reed is the actress.
Storm.
Yeah,
but I have the porn star. But like her with Riley, or even the police officer at the beginning, like that whole scene worked.
That was great.
And if anything, they kind of make the Fedra people, at least at the Boston QZ, like, not nice all of them people. Are dicks. They're just like, hey, we do this because we get to live a somewhat nicer life than
a common person.
A common person or just whatever they dish out. And it was interesting that they really went, I don't know if it was The Giver or if it's Fahrenheit 451, but what was the book that they would give out assignments? Like, that was your role. Was it The Giver?
It's The Giver, yeah.
Yeah. So very
sure. It was more of just like where you're going to be posted for like the next year or so, I guess.
I don't know. I felt like that was your thing.
Sure. Yeah, but like what, she would just be on guard duty of like Riley. I guess it was in the show, it was hinted that, or just said that if she were to accept her post, sorry, I can wait.
No, you're good.
If she were to like accept like the post she was given, then she would be guarding the sanitation workers, like the people who are cleaning up shit.
Right. I don't know. I guess for me, like, I just took it as that's
where you are for life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's room for promotion, but yeah,
maybe I don't know. I just definitely got like a very dystopian
right.
like like the Giver vibe. At least, but
yeah, I mean, also I had some predictions. I didn't really say them on the podcast. I told them to you and Ryan, who we watched with on Monday, but I didn't expect at all for the episode to be framed in the way it was, where you had basically Joel bleeding out inside this house that they found, and the episode starts as if like, oh, is Ellie going to be leaving Joel or not?
Yeah.
And it ends with her saving Joel pretty much. And yeah, I thought the mystery behind like, oh, is Joel dead or alive? I thought that was going to be maybe dragged on a little longer than it was.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, because like I could be wrong, but like I think in the game you play the DLC after Joel goes down, and then you are just playing as Ellie when you get back to present day, and you don't know if Joel's alive or dead or not.
Yeah, see, I think that's how it was. I was thinking about it in my head. It was going to go to after I'd heard what the DLC is. Mm-hmm. And I will note that I think this whole episode was written by Neil Druckmann.
Oh, nice.
Who is the creator of The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind how it went.
No.
I didn't get. I think I saw what they were going for with some sort of mirroring of how this episode ends and her relationship with Joel and like leaving people or whatever. But I think it was a very loose whatever they were trying to do. Like, it didn't impact me the way like that
it didn't tie in as well as you thought it would have. Or
I guess like I didn't. I guess feel the. I don't know. I didn't really feel the. I don't know what. I don't know what exactly they were trying to show. I guess
for me, what they were trying to show is that when she hesitated at the top of the door, I don't think it was maybe that she was like remembering like what happened and and like throughout the episode. I think it was just kind of like it was telling viewers like what happened to Ellie like right before like the show started, and in that scenario we got to see like she did not leave her best friend and until the end, and I think because of that experience she's never going to leave somebody like that again, and she tried everything in her power to not lose somebody like that again who she truly cares about. I think that was right,
but they didn't even show like what happened with her and Riley.
I do want to say maybe that's what Ellie didn't want to talk about earlier on in the series.
Probably
is her having to shoot the infected version of Riley.
Is that what happens in the DLC?
I don't think so, but I think it's more so implying that like, they would have sat there all night maybe, and Ellie would have not turned, and she would have. So she would have had to have defended herself.
Yeah, you might be right. But I mean, everything else was really great.
Yeah. It was a great subtle like romance story,
Yeah, another just great coming of age.
Yeah.
I love how coming of age it is with the sneaking out at night, and I'm gonna show you this fantastical experience at a mall, and then again like Ellie's just like fascinated by moving stairs. And
moving stairs, photo booths,
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And then, just like getting drunk, which I pointed out that, she, whatever Joel was drinking in his flask that she tried in an earlier episode, she was like, yeah, this is still gross. Maybe he was drinking something else, but she didn't seem like she was having too hard of a time from the dead guy's alcohol.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Loopy juice. So
loopy juice.
But yeah, and also great like music.
Oh yeah,
like they were playing like Aha's, and then Take on Me, and then there was like a kalimba version that was very romantic and cute of the same song, and we all kind of looked at each other and we're like,
oh my god.
This is the kalimba version of Take on Me.
Yeah. No, it was such a well-crafted episode, and such a great journey that they get to go on, that it's not like there's like a ton of stakes in the episode or anything, but you do get a great slice of life moment with Ellie, and in the back of your mind you're still always thinking, this place probably isn't abandoned fully. They're probably not fully safe in this mall.
No.
And they weren't.
No, they weren't. And I think we even looked for bite marks.
Yeah, well, we looked for bites in general, like from the infected thing.
We didn't see them.
Yeah,
but
they did happen.
They did happen. And I think it was, I mean, I'll say that I love that their relationship feels extremely lived in and real. And I kind of saw it coming,
Yeah, because like, why is this woman not in her life anymore?
Right. But it was still very impactful.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would say the DLC, even like in the game, comes at a surprise moment. So yeah, I think placing it in the exact same spot and doing it almost the exact same way, just it worked. And it works,
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to talk about with it. But I don't know. It wasn't like my favorite, but it was still like
it was another great episode.
It's still just another great episode.
Yeah.
And it was it was just really well done. And I love seeing the mall just being like there's an A&W.
Yeah, I do love that they make an effort to feel like you're still in 2003, like nothing has changed. Right. 2003.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
just a
very cool
episode.
World building and set building, and great acting all around.
Yeah, super good acting.
Yeah.
The actress that plays Riley, yeah, she's I want to see her in more stuff. She was really good.
I know that's about it for what we wanted to talk about. Did you have anything you've been watching or?
I still playing Hogwarts.
Yeah.
But I saw this French movie called Close.
Yeah, you were saying you were going to go see that.
Yeah, so I went there, went all the way up to Tyson's, and yeah, there was just 3 of us in that theater.
Yeah.
And not super surprising, but yeah, it was this A24 French movie that just got like released in North America, and it was very beautiful. It had these amazing tracking shots that I don't know how they did.
Nice.
Where they would just be running and biking, and the camera would follow them, and things would happen, and
it would be like super smooth.
It was just it was so smooth, and it was also a very emotional movie, considering the subject matter of these 2 close boys who are friends with each other, and some stuff happens, and but it was very beautiful. It was very nice. It was almost very French, whereas like. It's interesting. When I was working at my job, this woman came in who was like, I'm a French teacher. And I brought up that I watched this movie.
Nice.
So then we started talking about French movies. And
I think I've seen one French movie and I'm absolutely in love with it.
What movie?
It's La Haine.
I don't know what that is.
It's really good. But
okay, I'll talk to you about it, or like I'll write it down, because she gave me a bunch.
Okay.
And she was like just saying like, American audiences don't always love French endings because they're not always happy.
Oh yeah, the one I watched was so not happy at all. Yeah.
But this one, I won't say that it was happy, but it was resolved in a way that it felt like healing. And yeah, it was really good. Soundtrack was really good.
Nice.
And what was really astonishing is it really made me feel like a kid.
How so?
Just we'll hang out and we'll do like, or at least maybe not me as much, but like you'll do like play fighting and shit.
Okay, yeah,
right. And that's like I was like forgot like how much like we do that as kids, and like especially with like your best friends.
Just reminded you of that time period.
Period, and like hang out in like the school courtyard, and like you're all like hang out with your friends and.
Right.
Playing soccer and like talking shit about Lionel Messi and like all these different things, and like how emotional you would get like if you were upset about something and you were in front of your parents or your best friend, like sometimes like I just remember like all these different things of having these like
emotions and
and like having like I remember like with one of my friends, like it was a similar thing where we just started to grow apart, and how difficult that was to navigate. And I was like, this is bringing back some stuff. So
it sounds like a good movie.
It was really good. I don't know when it'll come out on streaming, or if it
ever will.
No, it definitely will. But but streaming.
I mean, I don't know. Some things don't ever reach a streaming service. So
true.
I don't know.
I guess that's true. But yeah. I mean, if it's playing, I don't know if it's still playing, or if you ever get to see it, you should definitely check it out.
Nice.
But yeah. I mean, besides that, I've just been. Actually reading books.
So. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
nice. Yeah, the only thing I've really been watching is more Sherlock.
What did you get up to?
I've now watched through season 2, episode 2. So
okay,
I haven't seen the finale of season 2, but
yeah, I can't wait for you to see the finale.
The finale of season 1 was amazing.
No, this is way better.
I mean, yeah, season 1 finale was great because you just got. You got Moriarty throughout, the first 2 episodes in a way. And then, this one, it was clearly he was testing him the entire time. And it was amazing tests.
What was this one? I think I know what it is, but what was this one?
Basically, gosh, how did it start? He got this phone basically given to him. And then every situation would have like this hostage with an explosive, around them, and they would be speaking the words of like what Moriarty was saying, and they would be like, basically telling him where the next crime was taking place or like what it was, and he would have to solve that within like the next 8 or 12 hours.
Right.
It was so exciting. And they show you who Moriarty is like halfway through the episode, and you don't even know who it is.
Oh, they don't even show you in season 1, do they?
No, they do. Remember, in season 1, the doctor or the lab tech that's interested in Sherlock.
Yeah.
She introduces Sherlock to her boyfriend.
Right.
And you're like, okay, this guy's a doof, whatever. And
nope.
And yeah, he ends up being the criminal mastermind of the century. And yeah, and they show it at the end of the episode where they're at the pool.
Right.
And that was a great reveal too, because at first, I mean, I didn't think it, but like they wanted you to feel like maybe John was the one like behind it all.
Right.
Because he walks in and I'm like, oh my God, John just walked in. Why is John here?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then, season 2 has been great too, because this has the twist where they're like kind of famous now.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to solve a mystery for like the crown. And that was great because he got to meet like his first love interest. And and then the second episode was a pretty cool mystery of a gigantic hound attack. And I don't know if you remember that episode.
Gigantic hound attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Hound of Bakersfield, right?
Yeah. That's a famous Sherlock story, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, just great episode after episode. They're pretty much movies at this point, and so exciting to watch.
This has got to be either episode 1 or 2 was when they go out drinking, right? Or don't they go out drinking?
Do they?
And like Sherlock's like trying to solve all these like equations and shit while he's drunk.
They do go out drinking in episode 2, but I don't know if it's like just to be friends,
Okay.
I thought the one thing I will say, because I've also been watching this with my parents, and we kind of had the same thought, was that when he went to like his mind palace in episode 2, that was like our first like kind of cheesy moment in it all, because he was just like moving things around with his hands, and you're like, what are you doing? There's nothing.
Very Tony Stark.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, other than that, it's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's definitely like a all-time. Not, I don't know. It's one of my favorite shows as a kid.
It's like they're all-time like criminal mysteries after like one after the other.
Yeah, and that's, I know. I think that series is made or overseen by Stephen Moffat, who did my favorite era of Doctor Who. I guess that there's a good amount of people who also don't like Stephen Moffat.
Oh. Wow.
And they're excited for the old showrunner to come back to Doctor Who for who did like the David Tennant era. But I like Stephen Moffat and I like Sherlock. So
yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of rough things, I guess, about the current era of Doctor Who.
I've not heard specifics, but I know that people aren't in love with it and that they've retconned some stuff. So I will be watching and catching up to Doctor Who. Because I used to watch it a lot.
Yeah, you were a huge fan.
I was a big fan.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. And also like usually each week I'll like do some song recommendations, but not this week. I'm too busy.
Good. Yeah. If you're too busy, then we got a bunch of other things we talked about today.
Yeah.
And the listeners can always listen to your recommendations from last week.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's about all we had to talk about today.
Yeah.
And we wanted to thank you all for watching, or I say that every week. Every week I say watching. So yeah, thank you all for listening. If you want to listen to future episodes, we are Last Week This Week at
Last Week This Week Pod.
Well, I'm saying we're not at Last Week This Week Pod on like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But yes, on our Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, we are Last Week This Week Pod. If you want to check us out there, Zach's in charge of all our social medias. So if you want to conversation it up with him, he's more than happy to.
Yeah. Just comment, like stuff, review, please.
Yeah, give us a rating on any of these platforms. It greatly helps us out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you like the show, then just please support us.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But yeah, thank you all again.
Yep. Until next time.